Welcome everyone to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host, Jon and Travis. Jon, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Travis. How you doing?
I am fantastic. It's a Saturday night?
It is a Saturday night.
Saturday night at 7:37 at night. Finally got over to Jon's house. Been kind of busy today.
I think we've been busy the last going on 3 weeks.
It's been crazy.
Yeah. We got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. I had to write my rental agreement for the place that we're moving into. Figured out today that we're probably just going to end up putting our house in a pod and then renting a place.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
And not unpacking in the slightest if possible, and then just have the pod leave our house and then the pod go to the new house. So
Got to be nice.
yeah, I know. I'm super excited. I'm trying to come up with ideas on how I'm going to do. So we're going to have a dedicated media room downstairs.
I like it.
For the podcast, for the computers and whatnot. So I'm trying to come up with ideas to how I want to do it down there.
I don't think you should spare any expense.
No, I think I'm going to go
top notch.
Yeah, I think I'm going to soundproof the entire room.
I like it.
Sound panels everywhere, digital cameras that are just ridiculous.
When you move, since we'll be a lot closer to like Silverdale, it'd probably be a whole lot easier to get those Ubers and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I know, right? We really got to look into that. Some business outside of the podcast we got to take care of. So, but hey, without further ado, Jon, what do we have today?
So I'm excited. I hope this is what I think it is, but I'm not 100% certain. But what we have is, looks like a Mother Earth Brewing Company, and this is Cali Creamin'. Now, if this is the one I think it is, they may have changed the can, but when I used to be in San Diego, this was my favorite beer. And you could only get it at a organic Whole Food store where I was at. So if this is it, I'm going to be happy. Because the last time I bought this by the crate when I went down to Disneyland.
You were getting Costco size.
So if it tastes like an orange creamsicle, this is it. Let's go ahead and taste it first time.
I'll wait for you. And we also need to give a shout out to someone too.
Oh, we will.
After we drink it.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so good.
It's like an orange creamsicle. This is
like
it.
A carbonated creamsicle.
Yeah, they must have changed the can. And this is from Samantha Wiley. Looks like she was met our wives, checked out the podcast, recommended this beer. So we want to give a shout out to her, Samantha Wiley. Thank you for the beer. It's delicious.
She works for Mother Earth. She was I believe she was what are those people that go inside stores and sit there and let you sample stuff?
I don't know. Do they have a technical name?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Lordell said it on the way here, but I've been kind of drunk all day, so I don't really know.
She knows more than me.
But anyways, she was at one of the stores here in our town, and they are marketing El Presidente, a.k.a. Katie, Jon's wife, mentioned that we had a podcast, and she's like, oh, my God, I love podcasts. I'm always on the road, so she ended up giving us her card and said, hey, give us a shout-out if you guys like the beer. And the beer is fantastic. So there goes your shout-out. Thank you so much. So I'm going to have did you get a 6-pack of this too? Because Lordell got me a 6-pack of this.
No, I didn't know anything about it.
You didn't know anything about it? What did you get? Because what did you get in your crate that Katie got you?
It just looked like some kind of Irish milk that you add to your coffee.
Did you have that yet?
Yeah, I had 2 cups as soon as I got home from work today. And it looked like some kind of spiced eggnog.
Yeah, the spiced eggnog I haven't had. I'm not a big fan of Lordell. I love Lordell. I'm not a big fan of eggnog, but maybe if there's a little bit of brandy and whatever in it, maybe it'll taste a little.
Well,
bit
it's just
better.
so sweet,
Yeah,
I
don't at me on Instagram about this, but I just think eggnog just doesn't have a good taste. Let me know if you guys think eggnog is delicious, but I've never been a big fan of it.
I think it's delicious.
You think it's delicious?
Yes, it's like drinking a cup of when you're eating ice cream and you get that real smooth consistency, it melts a little bit towards the end.
Yeah.
It's like that, but you're just drinking a cup full of it.
That doesn't sound. That sounds good when you say like ice cream.
Yeah, it's like the best part of the ice cream when it gets just right.
I don't like eggnog, like the flavoring of eggnog either.
We can't all be perfect.
I like me. I know.
Yeah.
So we got quite a bit of stuff to talk about today. If you guys don't know, a lot of stuff has happened. I went to San Diego for a week and a half. While I was in San Diego, I got to train with one of my good friends, Todd Smithson. He's also my tattoo artist. I got to train with him down there. He's he just restarted his journey down jiu-jitsu. I didn't get to train much while I was down there, unfortunately, for those 10 days because I was working 12-hour shifts at night. So I was gung-ho. I was like, all right, I'm going to get off work. I'm going to go to the gym. I wanted to drop in at Stronghold down in San Diego, their Point Loma one, and that did not happen. I'm going to tell you right now, I was so tired. By the time I got home, I was like, if I go roll right now, it's going to be a disaster for me. I'm not going to retain anything. I'll probably fall asleep in the middle of class.
Well, either way, it would have been entertaining.
Yeah, but I was down there, and while I was in San Diego, John, what were you doing up here for jiu-jitsu?
Well, it's been a good month, but if you guys remember, we had Revolution going on in Tacoma, so I went and participated in that.
Woo woo.
Our school did pretty good there. Pretty much everyone medaled and got one, so that was nice. The kids, they were very impressive. It's fun watching the kids. That was probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
But Revolution was packed. I can't remember how many people they said that signed up, maybe 1,200. I know if you go on their website and you can look at Revolution 41, I think they said each mat had 19 hours of roll time.
Holy crap.
And they had 9 mats there, just to give you a good idea.
Holy crap. At like 5-6 minutes a roll.
Yeah, I had 3 matches myself.
Excuse me. Sorry.
So, it was good. I definitely got my money's worth. I enjoyed it.
How were your 3 matches?
Well,
go over them. Tell us what you were thinking. How about this? How about we did like with the other people? Tell me what was going on the morning of, Jonathan.
Well, morning of I was totally fine, just for the record. And
how was the poop? Was it a good poop?
Yeah, it was great. I wasn't worried about weight. Those that care, I signed up for the 195 weight class. Originally I wanted to do the 181, but I was worried that I'd fail to weigh in and then get disqualified, and I didn't want that to happen. So I just chose the 195, showed up, I weighed in at 180, so I would have been okay. So anyway,
you live, you learn.
Was not nervous at all leading up to it, and I don't know if it's because I watched it previously, so I was pretty comfortable. I guess by the time I actually got on the mat, it was probably 3 or 4 hours of me standing around.
Oh, no.
So I was just, ready for it to start. Let's do this. And I was in the executive age group, so that was over 40. Match started. First one, I went the full 5 minutes. I tried to submit the entire time, ended up winning off points, 13-0. I'd never been so sore so quick in my life. It's definitely different than training at the gym. I thought it would be similar to how we roll there, but it's much more intense. I think it's because, you're both going 100% right off the get-go.
Right.
And lost my second one, won the third one, and that was about it. I will say that I felt fresher in the third match than I did the first match.
Was there a bigger time difference or time gap between your second and third than your first and second? Then?
Well, I did the first match, and then probably about 5-6 minutes went by, and then I jumped right into the second match. And it was that guy's first match. Not taking anything away, he won that one pretty hands down about the 2-minute mark. And I had probably a good 15 minutes before the third match, so I felt fully recovered and kind of relaxed by then. Like I'd already got the nerves out.
Yeah, you got tapped.
Yeah, and starting it, I was like, man, I just don't want to get tapped in 15 seconds. And then it was like, well, I'd be happy if I won one. So winning 2, I felt fine.
Right, and then you didn't get tapped in 15 seconds. It was 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right, yeah. It is the one you always give me. What is that? The
arm,
head and arm choke?
Yeah, head arm triangle or whatever. Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Did you make any new friends while you were there? Meet any cool people?
Yeah, I talked to everybody that was waiting, and
did you spread the podcast?
I spread the word.
The gospel.
Had my sweatshirt on when I got there. But it was a lot of fun. I know they said next year they're going to be in a new location. I think it's something called the Armory in Tacoma, just because they've outgrown where they've been, I guess the last couple of years.
Really? Jiu-Jitsu's kind of like taking a huge jump lately, I feel, too, especially since we've been in it. I don't know, like, strength and conditioning, how we were talking about it like at the beginning of the podcast, when we first started the podcast. Now I feel like strength and conditioning, more people are focusing on strength and conditioning of jiu-jitsu. And I also feel like there's more people coming from CrossFit to go into jiu-jitsu also. I see people all the time coming from like on Instagram and social media, former high-level CrossFit athletes, and all of a sudden they're starting their jiu-jitsu journey. And I'm like, oh, man. I know you're feeling. That's a whole lot of fun. So But
You gonna do the next one, Travis?
probably.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I planned on doing this one, but like I said, last minute trip came up and I volunteered to go, not to get out of Revolution. That was just a bonus. But it was Thursday afternoon. They said, "Hey, emergency job down in San Diego. Can you leave tomorrow?" And I was like, "No, but I can leave Monday." And then I left Monday.
Right.
So. But it was fun, dude. Oh, man, I miss San Diego so much. And there's so many good schools down there. Like, because we plan on going down to San Diego
Next year.
Yeah, this next year for a couple months, 3-4 months. So we'll find our second home out there, our second Black Label Jiu-Jitsu style situation, like in Japan.
That would be nice. I've been trying to research and trying to maybe they got someone that does private lessons out there, things of that nature. There's got to be a lot of quality. I mean, jiu-jitsu is so big down there. There's got to be
huge.
It's got to be around.
Huge.
Yeah.
It was crazy when I was Googling like jiu-jitsu gyms in around my hotel, and there was easily like 10 of them just in my within like a 10-mile radius, And the only reason I was going to go to Stronghold is because, like I said, my buddy Todd is the one that goes there.
Yeah.
And shout out to Todd. He asked for a sweatshirt. I got to get him a sweatshirt. Extra large. It's a large man. But so him and his daughter go to jiu-jitsu at Stronghold, and she's 6-7 years old, and she just started her jiu-jitsu journey also, and so they do it together. What's cool with them is because their school is a little bit bigger, they have the kids class, kind of like Sonia's class. They have the kids class sometimes at the same time as the adults class. Oh,
that's nice.
Yeah, so they get to basically train at the same time, kind of train together. You know what I mean? So, which I thought was kind of cool, and it's beautiful there. That school is beautiful, but.
Well, let's see. I'll let Travis talk about what else we got going on recently. I'll let him break that news. So going ahead, Travis, what have you had had happened to you that was impactful this month?
We sold our house. That was nice,
Right, yeah, you got to wait till that's all final.
yeah, right. Hopefully we sold our house. No, so Monday I come into class, and I think it was in the middle of class or right before open mat. Professor's walking around, and he's like, "Hey, welcome back. Good to see you." And I was like, "Thanks, Professor." Trip would end a little bit sooner than expected. He said, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "Are you going to be in class tomorrow and for Tuesday's class?" And I was like, "Yeah, I should be here. I don't see any reason why." And to tell you the truth, I was feeling like not coming to Tuesday's class as I was sitting in Monday's class, and I was like, "I don't know if I'm going to come tomorrow. I think I might just take tomorrow off." But so he's like, "You're going to be in class tomorrow?" I was like, yeah, I'll be in class tomorrow. Yeah. And he's like, "Okay, cool. We're testing you tomorrow." And I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "There's going to be a couple of you guys getting tested tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay." And so finished the rest of the class. There was 4 of us on Tuesday that they told we're going to be getting tested. Myself, Jon, our buddy Derek, who's been on the podcast twice, the most active person on the podcast. Try to get him on the 3rd time. And then our coach Logan got tested for his blue belt, or his purple belt, excuse me. And so Jon and I are officially blue belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I don't feel any smarter, though.
I don't feel any smarter. In class, I feel like I'm like, oh, I still don't know this techniques. But that was an experience in itself. Words cannot describe the experience it is to me. Going through what we went through, like I felt. So the way it worked is we came in on Tuesday, we all got warmed up together, and then Professor called the 4 of us out in the mat, and we took one corner of the mat, and then he proceeded to just like call individual things out to us, and kind of get warmed up, like do some break falls, rolling forward, backwards, shrimping, reverse shrimping, just things like just seeing it how we moved. And getting us warmed up, getting us tired. And so then we had to do takedowns for the guys getting their blue belts. What was it? It was 5 different takedowns.
Yeah.
You had to do on one another. And then you had to show how to counter a takedown. And when you were countering the takedown, your partner was the other person testing for their belt. So my partner was Derek, John's partner was Logan. And so Uke had to kind of counter the takedown. That way the attacker or the other person could kind of transition into another takedown or whatever, kind of flow into the next one, see how our brains work. And that was a whole lot of fun. I kind of brain farted, to tell you the truth, on some of my takedowns. And afterwards, it was like, man, why didn't I just do this? Why didn't I just do that? Like, I'm so stupid, In the moment, though, it's like, well, I'm just going to do what the other guy did. That's really what it came down
I wish
to.
I'd have been smart enough to think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think I'm going to do what Logan just did.
Derek was like, Professor, if you're listening to this, sorry. Derek's like, arm drag. I was like, oh, that's right, arm drag. So arm drag the back take, and then he's like, single leg, and I was like, oh, that's single leg.
Dang, I wish I wish I'd have thought to do that. It didn't even dawn on me.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, it's not like I felt like a huge amount of pressure. You know what I mean? Like when we were doing it, I felt like it was kind of like just us warming up. Besides, the entire class was sitting on the edge watching us as we were doing this, and all in my head I could think of was them looking at me going like, man, that was a terrible takedown.
I was more nervous doing the testing than I was the competition.
Yeah.
Like I had way more nerves doing the testing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a huge goal of ours, obviously, right? It's our first belt promotion in jiu-jitsu, right? And we've been working our butt off on it, and basically Jon and I have dedicated almost our entire life around jiu-jitsu. Like it's absolutely captivated us. We started the podcast about after, I don't know, we were doing jiu-jitsu for like 6 months or something like that by the time we started the podcast. Maybe, no, it was a little bit later than that because we started in May and we got back in April. So it was about a year of doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, easy, yeah.
And so, and then everything outside of work, even at work, we're always talking about jiu-jitsu. We're always talking to jiu-jitsu about to our friends and
still going when we're banged up and everything else.
And so having that belt tied around my waist, like I thought I was going to cry, to tell you the truth. Like I was like it was like such an emotional thing, especially because how it happens, right? So after we get warmed up, we do our partner takedown and stuff like that. Then the drills start, right? And it was, what was it? We start by just sweeping, right? Just do 5 different sweeps for us.
Yeah.
And then it was 5 different counters. I mean, it was like such a blur.
Yeah.
5 different submissions from guard, 5 different submissions from back, having a back escape, being able to escape from your back. And the whole time people are, it's the 4 of us in the corners and the whole class is just, this is the biggest class I've ever seen, first of all.
Yeah. When have we ever had that many blue belts show up to class?
I was like, I don't even think you go to our school. What are you doing here?
Yeah, what is going on?
But it was like, it was just, people were just cycling through us, right? And Professor made a point that he was like, in the middle of us, he's like, this is technique. This is not live rolling. He's like, I want to see their technique. Do not go more than 70%. And Jon told me, he's like, yeah, that's because people were going 100% on me. And I was like, oh no, everyone was real nice to me. It was but so I hit some good sweeps, had a whole lot of fun doing that. And then I don't even know when the intensity started, man. All I remember is like we were just laying on our backs, and then I think it was escape from mount. And when we started the escape from mount, that's when everything just really started like getting pretty intense for me. And I've never felt someone like people try to smash me so hard in my life,
Yeah.
And I think I did pretty good. Obviously I got tapped a couple times. I got tapped by wrist lock. I think I may have tapped on pressure or something like that. But in the middle of it too, I was thinking to myself, like, man, am I ready? You know what I mean? Like, am I ready? Because I am exhausted right now, and I feel like there's not a whole lot of anything going on. But I survived. That was the whole point. Professor said survive.
There was a point where that was all I was doing.
I went into iron pillow. That's how bad I wanted to survive. I literally went into iron pillow.
I remember switching to that for a second as well.
I went into iron pillow on someone. I was like, "This is."
Did you ever
need a second.
get totally where you couldn't do anything?
Oh yeah, every time someone new came,
I think I told you, Derek's sister with the I think it was
Scarfold?
Scarfold. Yeah, like I couldn't get her off of me. Like I was at that point where like all I felt was lactic acid. I couldn't move anything. And I had people yelling at me like, you need to roll into her or roll away.
Yeah,
and I was
same.
thinking, I know this. I just can't do it.
Yeah, right.
Like I was at that point, I was like, man, we should just like put me in a submission right now because like for the life of me, I don't have the energy to push out of this.
Bro, there were so many moments where I was like, would it look bad if I just tapped right now to get to the next person? Would it be okay? Are they actually looking at me right now? I could just tap. It's okay, right? But, I mean, the only time I tapped was, like, legitimate. Like, I felt like I had to. But, man, they got us in case of Gatami, scarf holder or whatever, and then that was probably the worst moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I usually, when it comes to pressure, I can embrace the suck and just kind of tighten up my body to where it doesn't hurt. Not after about 40 minutes of getting your butt kicked by your friends. There was zero trying to counter it.
Well,
man.
and generally, like, we don't allow people to get in that position. Like, we do everything we can to stay out of those positions.
Right. And that was the thing, right? Is I was letting these people just secure the best possible position for them. And then I was trying to get out of there. And now looking back at it, right, I've already thought about it, like, why didn't I just do that? Like, why didn't I just do that? And it gets a little, looking back on it now, it's like, well, I was actually getting my butt kicked pretty bad. So it's like, no wonder I didn't think about it because I was thinking about other things and how much pain I was in.
I was focusing on not throwing up. That was a big one. A lot of times through that night, I was like, oh, just don't throw up on him. Don't throw up on him. And then it was like, I'm so hot. Don't pass out. Don't pass out. Those are the two things running through my head. Not to throw up on him and not to pass out.
Yeah, when at one point, Professor was like yelling at people because I had too much time in between people. And too much time, by the way, guys, too much time was like 4 or 5 seconds. It was enough time for the people to walk over. And that was too much time. Like, so Professor had people basically part the Red Sea and then start getting on deck for me. So someone would get out, like, say if Jon were to get off me, by the time Jon was like releasing me, someone was already grabbing me out of Jon's hands.
I wish I could have seen everyone else, but I was in my own like little hell, so I didn't know what anyone else was doing.
Did you recognize anyone when you were rolling with them?
A couple times, yeah. Like mostly the ones that talked to me because I wasn't looking at them.
Oh,
like,
eyes were closed the entire time.
I think Jordan came up and he said something one time. Like I don't even know what he said. It might have just been like a little longer. I don't remember. I was like, I'm gonna pass out this place.
Oh man, yeah. I remember a couple times. I'm just laying there looking up at the roof. And I think I'm about to roll with someone, and this happened twice. I think I'm about to roll with someone, and then the professor comes over and pushes them out the way, and he's like, "It's my turn." I'm like, no. And then obviously professor's like just talking to me in the middle of it, telling me what to do and whatnot, because I'm obviously struggling to save my own life right now. Never in a situation would I ever want to be like that again, to where I'm just completely exhausted. And then he got up. And then another time was when George decided to lay on top of me profusely. And that was terrible because he got me in scarf hold and then he lifted me up and cranked me into him and kind of like pressured into my floating ribs. Oh, so terrible. And then directly after George, I got Phil, Big Phil.
Oh, yeah. Footlock Phil?
Footlock Phil, at Footlock Phil on Instagram if you haven't followed him yet. He got a 22-second footlock and straight ankle lock at Revolution. Yep. Guy's legit. He definitely is challenging a lot of people with those footlocks, man. And now whenever he goes for my ankles, I run away like a little girl. I'm like, don't get away from me. Whenever I get a footlock, though, I do look at Phil and I'm like, better watch out, man.
Yeah, we're all savvy to you now.
Yeah, right. But then Footlock Phil came over to me and got in side control or north-south or maybe even both. I don't remember. But, pushed my soul through the mat. And then I remember vividly him going to Neon Belly and me about crying. I was like, just don't cry in front of people. Wait until afterwards.
Just wait.
Oh, man. What was the worst part for you?
The worst part? I'm telling you, like, the worst time I had was Derek's sister on that hold on me. That was like, it felt like forever. I was like, oh, God, just let this piece end. I know my favorite part was when we did the back positioning and we let them take our back.
I love giving up my back sometimes, man.
That was like, I don't know, that just seemed like the best position. I guess maybe it's because I was not on my back anymore at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, whew, man.
I love taking people's backs, and I love letting people take my back. Because I like grip fighting. I think it's fun. I think it's intense. You know, getting someone off your back to me is it's a very fun experience. Even if I get tapped, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite positions besides like north-south. And so when they took my back, I was like, thank God. I was like, as long as I just hold their hands here, I'm pretty good, you know. But
it was definitely exhausting. I don't remember the last time I've ever been that exhausted doing something physical.
No, I think the closest I've been to that is in Japan when we did like the 45 minutes of King of the Hill. But then I could just opt out of it and act like I was tying my shoe or something.
Or I would if I was ever that exhausted. I'm like, okay, I'm taking a break. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
I was like, oh man.
It made me think about. I saw this. I think it was Malky, the owner of Black Label Jiu-Jitsu, had a post about this, or someone on Instagram, and they were talking about how in the moment of adversity, you look back and think, maybe I should have pushed it harder on an earlier training session. Maybe I should have tried harder or something like that. And I can honestly say I probably should have on some points of my journey to that blue belt test. Because I hadn't trained, honestly, for like 2 weeks before that, too. And I came from San Diego where I was drinking beer. I wasn't drinking beer, but I was, you know, eating good food, hanging out with friends. I just got tattooed, right? And so I had scabs on my arm while I was doing it, and I was like, please just don't rip off my tattoo. Please don't rip off my tattoo.
wishing I didn't participate in Monday's class. Like,
oh, I know, me too. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I wish I could come into this fresh.
Monday's class was so
I know.
intense.
It was a rough one. Yeah. It was good, though. It was definitely exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. What was going through your head as he was tying the belts around your waist?
I was just glad to get through it. I remember the thing I most feared going into it is I've never been good at any type of testing. Like, I think we talked about that, right? Like, it doesn't matter. If I know the answer and it's a test, and my example is, you know, you ask me, what's 2 + 2? I'm going to tell you 21. Even though I know it's not. It's how I've always been. But I think what helped me, though, was that revolution before the testing. Because what I learned in the revolution was you don't have time to think. You know, like, I didn't have time to worry about it because it was like instant attack. So, I mean, I was surprised. Everything just came naturally, you know, trying the triangles, getting out of stuff like the arm. You know, I never go for the arm bars when we're like rolling because everyone knows them. But like there, it was just fast and it just happened. Like there was no thought.
Yeah, I know. I saw the video of you getting the arm bar of that bigger dude.
Yeah.
And he was like trying to sit up or whatever. And then he just let that arm go for a split second. And you grabbed it for that arm bar. I was like, oh, that was there. Like,
so I tried to think of that. Like, I tried to think that same way during the testing. Was like, look, even if I'm not sure, I'm just not gonna hesitate on it, and I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, and it paid off. Now we're blue belts.
Yeah, we have different colored blue belts. That brought up a lot of questions.
Oh my gosh, dude, that was so funny. So and we also have different size blue belts. Also,
yeah.
At first, when I saw all the blue belts getting lined up when we were about to get them put on. Jon and Derek got I think is a really good looking blue, that kind of faded light blue, sky blue, and I was like, man, I really like that blue.
And yours was dark, like almost violet.
Yeah, mine was like a dark navy blue, right? And I honestly enjoy it now because I think it stands out more. But the big difference between not only our belts was the color, but also the size. You guys got A4s, I got an A2, so I got the right size belt. You guys got 60-pound plus.
Nice.
So, but it was cool, man. Watching him tie it around my waist and then seeing everything like that, I was like, holy crap, it's real. It happened. 18 months from day one to blue belt, man. So
it was good.
Yeah.
And now we have at least anywhere 5 years before we have to do it again.
Yeah. My cardio better be a whole lot better than
mine will be.
Were you leaving me? Oh, can you get me another beer too? So yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. Professor asked in the middle of it, like, or while we were, you know, getting promoted, he like looks at me, he's like, how you feel? And I was like, I'm exhausted, to tell you the truth. You know, it's not only is it physically exhausting, but I felt so defeated afterwards. And that was probably the biggest surprise to me, is I wasn't expecting to be as mentally drained as I was. Like, I expected to be physically drained, but I thought I had the mindset where no matter how tired I am, no matter how hard it is, I will always push through it. And I was getting to the point where I was like, I wouldn't give up, but
Right.
it wasn't going to be 100% Travis. It wasn't going to be, you got this, just fight through it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it wasn't like the pep talk we had going into it.
No.
That's it. We're gonna take it. No, stop. Like, I don't know where that shit went. 10, 15 minutes.
John and I were like talking like before work, or while we were at work tonight. They're gonna see a whole different person. I'm gonna tell you
We're
right
gonna be
now.
animals.
After 20 minutes of, I was like, the animal done left itself at the door. It's watching me
sure.
from the outside. Like, I ain't going in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I realized how much energy it took, and we didn't mention it, but we did a little something different in this. Well, for one, we didn't know what to expect for the testing. First time we really had it like this in our school. But we also did some stand-up where they put on some boxing gloves, and we had to kind of like protect ourselves while they tried to hit us, and then we had to try to take them down. I think I used way more energy in that.
I used a lot of energy.
I think
for
that's what took most of my energy.
I agree. Sorry, I was taking a drink. I agree. I remember in the middle of that, George was standing in line, and he looked at me, and he's like doing the like, calm down, control your breathing. I'm like, I have control of my breathing. That's why I'm doing this. I'm tired. Okay?
Yeah, I think that took more out of me than, for one, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And I just think I'd never caught my breath after that going into the next position and stuff.
It was cool. The only thing like we talked about with the self-defense thing, and it's not knocking it at all, because I definitely think, once again, white to blue, a huge portion of it is self-defense, right? It's no matter what. Excuse me. But in a lot of those situations, if someone's coming at me that's going buck-ass wild, I'm just going to try to get away from them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to fight them. Definitely not going to try to take them to the ground. You don't know who you're messing with in the streets. I could, the guy could let me shoot in for a single leg, throw him to the ground, and then he's like, thank God. And he's like a 3rd-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then I'm dead.
Yeah. And if it's,
you know what I mean?
You're probably going to fall on a needle.
Yeah.
So.
Or a pile of poop.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but it was cool to see, they were throwing punches. They were punching us, not hard at all, and not even in the slightest, but it was kind of like just exposing where we could get hit from. And then made me realize, too, like, I need to work on my takedown game a little bit more. I mean, does anyone really have, like, immaculate takedown game? You know what I mean? Like, people can be really good at it, but I think takedowns are always something anyone can always work on.
Yeah, agreed.
And that was a big factor for me. I was like, I need to work on my takedowns.
Well, and I mean, that was the first time we tried it like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Someone, I mean, that would be good to incorporate into more classes.
Standing
while someone's trying to hit you in the face and trying to take them down.
Yeah. We might as well just get into MMA.
Well, we've practiced it before, but remember there was no contact. So,
yeah.
I enjoyed it. It'd be nice to hit back, but
So what are your plans now that you got your blue belt? Is anything gonna change, or do you kind of feel accomplished and you're good with jiu-jitsu?
No, I mean, the only thing I think might change is, was definitely going at jiu-jitsu hard. This was the first goal. I'm still going to go a couple times a week, but I'd like to take a day and incorporate something else. You've heard me talk about it before, whether that be judo or boxing or something. I'd like to stay well-rounded. I don't want to just, I think striking would be something good to complement your jiu-jitsu is all. So.
Yeah. And it's like, who was it? Chewy? Jiu-jitsu, he talked about it. He's like, if you're getting into jiu-jitsu for self-defense, there's absolutely zero reason not to do something else with it.
Yeah.
He's like, your game should not be solely jiu-jitsu. It should be striking. It should be boxing. It should be judo or whatever. There should be something else there. If you're getting into self-defense, you need something else besides just jiu-jitsu for self-defense. Well, you don't need it, but, to help yourself, you really should get into something else. So I'm looking at maybe trying to box or something like that too. But the only problem is where we live is such a small area. There's not very much stuff.
Right, but I think San Diego is a good opportunity for us to
try
something out for at least a few months. But other than that, no,
I agree.
still going to go to class 2 or 3 times a week. I just want to incorporate something else now. I didn't want to incorporate anything else while we were so focused on this.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Blue Belt was the first goal, right? Like,
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
the first goal. The
Mhm.
next goal is definitely not quitting jiu-jitsu. I know they talk about
Right.
a lot of people don't make it. I can't remember what they said. Maybe like 26% or something like that get to purple. There's such a large dropout at Blue Belt.
Right.
And I don't feel like that's going to be a concern here. For one, we got friends that go there,
Yeah.
kids go there, so the ties are all there to ensure we
Yeah.
go. I don't see
I
that
worked
being a
so
problem.
hard for my blue belt. I don't want to stop there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I've dedicated so much of my time and life into jiu-jitsu and money, right? Like, I've subscribed to stuff. I paid for things, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to stop now. Like, I feel like I'm kind of rejuvenated in my journey in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, it's kind of made me want to, like, all right, now that I have a colored belt, there's so much more I want to learn. Like, before I wanted to learn everything, but now, I don't know, it's kind of weird to explain. Like, I feel like having a blue belt, I mean, you can learn anything at any level,
right.
But I feel like it kind of legitimizes me to be able to learn something different. You know what I mean? Like, in the eyes of someone else that wants to teach. Like, as to where when I was a white belt, people were like, you're a white belt? You know, I don't really know about that. But now that we're blue, most people don't go, you're a blue belt? Nah, maybe you shouldn't learn that. You know
I just
what I
feel
mean?
like when you, I don't know, I just feel like the blue belt means that like you're committed, right? Like now you're like you're committed, right? Like that's kind of like the proof that you're committed to it. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, 100%. And so people are more willing to, once again, it kind of legitimizes you. You know what I mean? So people are more willing to teach you or something like that. It's just in my eyes from just my journey, or maybe it's just how I feel like blue belts should be, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm excited, one, to continue my journey, and then two, I don't know, learn from as many people as possible. I'm a little nervous going into dropping in gyms now. A little bit more nervous now.
Well, I mean,
do it.
Yeah, probably because there's a little bit more expectation as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I don't want people. Once again, I just don't want people to headhunt me. It's like, so.
Well, all I know is I'm really happy that next time I do Revolution, wrist locks are legal for me.
Woo!
And
Bye-bye.
I only have to do 4-minute rounds.
4-minute rounds?
Yeah.
Bro, what are you going to do with all that extra time?
Breathe.
I mean, you better work on that wrist lock game real quick.
My
man.
game's about to be. I want to focus on just really having sound techniques and closing up all those holes I learned while we were doing that testing.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna pursue them old wrist locks.
Yeah, I felt another big hole of my game was sweeping people from my back or reversing people from my back. I was like, man, I really don't know what I'm doing from here. And that's the reason, probably a good reason why I never like let people get to that position a lot of the times is because I don't know a lot from there subconsciously. So I'm like, well, I'm just not going to let people get me to that. So now I play a lot of like half guard. I love playing half guard. It's probably my favorite guard right now is playing half guard because you can hit the samurai sweep from there. I go from half to deep half to X guard, and then I do my X guard sweep to, pressure pass and stuff like that, or to straight ankle lock. Like that's a big part of my game right now also, X guard and half guard. And the nice thing too is if you play half, it leads into a lot of ankle stuff too. So, but do you feel like your game's going to change at all, or what are you going to try to refine the most?
I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. I think I need to work on ankle locks more. I don't know. I like to, me. I like to work. I don't want to say it's sneaky stuff, but I like to catch people like when they're trying to submit me. I like doing those wrist locks, and I'm gonna work on the ankle locks. I still need to work. I know it sounds silly, but guard passing has always been a real struggle to me when they have it locked in.
Breaking the guard.
Yeah, just breaking that. Like that's a tough one. Always has been for some reason. I just feel like it's, I don't know why that one gives me the most trouble. I'm gonna spend more time with that.
Yeah, we can take a break real quick.
A break.
In 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. I'm not feeling too hot all of a sudden, so had to take a moment
It's probably looking at me for an hour across the table did it to you.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
It's possible.
It could be because I ate some leftover pizza before we came here and some Doritos.
And Katie's cooking.
And Katie's fantastic cooking.
Yeah, that's one way to say it. Yeah. I mean, it was edible.
It wasn't bad.
Did a good job, babe. You did good. I'm just playing.
We're just talking trash. It could be also all the beer
fantastic.
and all the drinking I've been doing all day.
That's true. So I guess we should let everybody know this is going to be our last podcast as white belts.
Yeah,
we're going to wrap it up with this one. I think we've had 14 episodes.
14 or 15 episodes. Yeah,
since we started as with our white belt journey. We're going to keep it on there though. We'll figure out anybody can go listen to it as they start their journey.
Yeah.
Our next one will be our first one as blue belts.
Yep. And we also have the logo, the new logo. So the idea is behind our logo is every time Jon and I both rank up, we're going to change the color of the belt. So the new logo looks legit. So I'm excited to show everyone.
About 25 years, it'll be black. Yeah,
that's right. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be damn near 70.
Yeah, So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where jiu-jitsu is gonna go for us in the not only the distant future but the near future. So I'm excited to see what journeys having a blue belt brings me and what kind of people I can meet. And I'm honestly excited for like helping people. Having people coming to me and being like, hey, so how can I do this? What's a good way of doing this, or how can I do this?
Well, with your coaching background, that's good. You're good at explaining things like that.
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, jiu-jitsu is its own animal, right? So there's a lot of nuances.
Yep.
It took me 4 years of. It probably took me 2.5, 3 years of like solid lifting weights to understand, just have like a general concept of what's going on inside certain lifts and body mechanics and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm on the right track to where I was when I was lifting, to being able to explain to someone the little nuances that I know of. Definitely nothing like Professor, but
true.
So what are you gonna do if they ask you to teach something?
I'll tell them I'm a horrible teacher. You're asking the wrong guy. I can't go left. I'm like Zoolander. That's not gonna happen. I'm so sorry.
That's so funny. But in any case, guys, I'm gonna get out of here because I'm not feeling too hot all of a sudden. So I'm gonna go home and probably rest and hopefully feel better tomorrow morning. So
perfect.
But thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys honestly from the bottom of our hearts for sticking it through this long through our journey in jiu-jitsu, being there with us, commenting on every episode. Everything you guys have done to help out, giving us feedback and whatnot, just listening. This last month has been incredible for the podcast. Unique downloads have gone through the roof, and then we're getting more and more people listening around the world. So thank you guys, everyone that's spreading word of mouth and whatnot. It's honestly fantastic, and Jon and I are absolutely in love with doing this and having people and meeting people. So, and then, so that's all I got. Thanks guys for hanging out.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. We won't hear from you, or we won't hear from us again until next month. So probably early December is when you guys will hear the next episode, just because of family and everything like that. So, but thank you guys so much for listening. Hey, and remember, no oil checks here.